welcome to the Unlearning Podcast. I'm your host, Christina, and I have my guest host, Elizabeth, again during our Real, Raw, and Uncut Halloween special. So we are going to talk about ghosting. And so the title of this episode is I Ain't Afraid to Ghost When Ghosting is Necessary. So, just very interesting. I had to do some reading on ghosting to really understand what it meant.
I mean, it depends on who you're asking, because I don't mind ghosting.
Oh, okay. We just came way out. Hey,
yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Well,
So.
I think I'm confused with the term. So the term of ghosting means, and it's normally been used since online dating, pretty much is what I found. And so since online dating, folks date and then people, they just cease contact. And so that's the colloquial term ghosting. But I'm kind of like torn because how is that ghosting? That's where I'm confused. Like, even though I read the definition, it's like, how is that ghosting?
I guess because you're like, I guess when you look at it that way, but like you just dipping on somebody, like I don't know, moving along. I don't know how to quite describe it. I know what it entails. It entails cutting off contact, not necessarily letting the person know what you're gonna do. It's just kind of, I'm dipping, like.
But I do that to everybody. Does that make me a ghoster? Like, that's what I'm like. I just like space. Does that mean I'm a ghost? I don't know how to feel about that.
I think if you never circle back, then no. Like if you never circle back, yeah, it makes you a ghoster. But if you circle back at some point, then no.
Well, that's not what these articles were saying. They were saying it as if, there's no explanation. It's just like poof, out of thin air. Like you were there one day, you're poof, gone. And you leave the person or the ghosted, kind of second guessing themselves and saying like, what happened? I thought we had a thing. I don't know. I feel like, are people expecting too much? I'm just confused because with this definition here, I'm ghosting everybody. And I'm just like, it's not all the way my intent. Like, there are a couple I can name put on my hand that I'm probably ghosting, and I'm not mad about that. But then for the most part, like, I got friends like I don't talk to for like 10 years, and then we pick up right where we left off, like nothing happened.
That's what I mean. If you circle back, then I wouldn't consider that a scenario where you've ghosted somebody. But if you just like never see you, never talk to you again, like bam, I'm just gone, I would think that would be more like ghosting somebody.
Well, one of the articles says that it's the abrupt cutting off contact with someone without giving that person any warning or explanation for doing so. Even when the ghosted person reaches out to reinitiate contact or to gain closure, they're met with silence.
See, never, just I'm going, just bam, just ending it. That's ghosting.
I go so many on this definition. Like, I need to walk around in sheets.
Yeah, I'm about that business. How they're putting
it. I'm just like, okay, whatever happened to people kind of going their separate ways and then coming back together. Like, again, I've had friends over decades that I can call them tomorrow and it'll be like we had lunch or something yesterday. Like, I don't consider that ghosting. I consider that like you living your life.
It's not ghosting because the definition just said if when they try to reach out, I guess, to get clarity and then still nothing. So the fact that you're, hey, well, how's it going? Then that's not you not giving them anything. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's
okay.
But if you reaching out and blowing me up and I'm like, reject, I'm blocking you. Maybe you've been ghosted.
Delete.
Now that I'm infamous for. I
You
will ghost
delete. Oh
all
wow.
of the above.
You
You know
walking
how
around
I'm
going
feeling.
woo.
Yeah,
Yes,
depending
indeed.
on how I'm feeling, I'm coming out of closets on you.
Oh wow.
What it is.
Oh wow. Okay, so let me start by saying there weren't many articles that supported ghosting. Actually,
Huh.
there were a lot of articles that said it's very damaging to the person
I'm
that's being
good.
ghosted. Well, both parties, the ghoster and the ghosted. That well, let's go talk about some signs of ghosting. So, like,
Oh
they
wow.
regularly bail out. So, you have a friend or somebody, romantic interest. They regularly bail out on plans to get together.
I did it.
Oh, dang. Okay. They struggle to make commitments. They struggle to make
Mm-hmm.
commitments. They don't like to share personal information. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
I feel about that one. Like that, I don't think that one's ghosting. Like some things are just not your business.
Touche. That can be dependent on the situation by situation basis.
Um, they don't want you to meet their friends or family in a romantic sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's ghosting. Because we ain't trying to get close, partner. You ain't met my sister.
But how ghosting? How is that just like when does maturity come into play to say, I just don't know you like that? Like it takes time to get to know somebody.
That's the opposite of what we know or what we have done. And so that's why it's not looked at like the right thing to do or the right way to address that situation.
Um, you disappear from social media.
Oh
I
shit, I
do
ain't
that a
got
lot. So I'm ghosting on social media.
because you're not giving an update every 2 minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what they
I'm
do.
not gonna do that. So boogie woogie, like that's whatever. They rarely respond to your texts or calls. Okay.
Oh, all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean,
If you've
the
been looking,
conversations the
go
conversations
ahead.
with them lack depth and they seem disinterested. Now I think that's just rude.
That
I mean, just to be talking to someone and you're totally disinterested, like that's rude. I wouldn't want to talk to you again after that. I would ghost you. I'd probably ghost you for that then.
I would ghost you. Yeah, definitely.
Um, and the conversation with them lacks. I mean, I guess this is coming from again. It's a lot of romantic involvement in dating, and so I'm trying to really connect this to friends
Oh, I
because
can
I
connect
ghost
it.
my friends and all my friends ghost me based on this definition, and I just feel like, but we're adults, and adults do they're busy, life happens, and so I may not talk to you. That wasn't my intent. So it's like to me
I
it's
guess
like
I
ghosting should be felt in the intent because then you get paranoid people who are like, oh, such and such didn't text me, they're ghosting me, and that's not.
well, I guess for me, I wouldn't ghost a friend. People use that term too loosely. Everybody is not my
Mm,
friend because I have a conversation with you. You my friend, you
mm.
know, because we circle back. All you others, you finna get ghosted at some point.
You
We
find enjoyment in the ghosting, don't you?
it just be on my nerves. It's not that I find enjoyment in it. I feel that it is necessary for me to preserve my peace in what I got going on. I gotta ghost you.
Well, based on like some of the articles that I read, and this is again, we're gonna make a disclaimer. This is all in good fun. I am not a licensed practitioner or counselor or psychologist or anything like that. Uh, my sister is studying, but we are not experts, and so again, if there's like a resource or anything that you would want to share, please feel free to do so. And again, if you need support with anything health wise, mental, um, or general health, please reach out to a licensed practitioner. I just have a hard time with this whole term of ghosting. I feel like so the articles that I read, let me go back, talked about the damage that's done. So in our society right now, adults have a very hard time with having adult communication and conversations. Which I can attest to. Like we never properly learned the strategies um
I can
on how to
partially
communicate
agree.
effectively.
I can partially agree with that, but when I sit here and I think about situations in which I've had to ghost people, it's not because I felt like I couldn't. I just didn't. I mean, it might sound harsh, but it is what it is. I don't think they were important enough to me to address them.
Just
Sorry.
honest. It's
And so it's not that I had an issue or I was uncomfortable with being able to talk to them. And some people may have a difference of opinion. I just didn't feel like it was important enough to me to take my more time out to address them. It was just kind of like, going about my
okay.
business.
So on some of the things that you're describing, then I am a like caught red-handed, big time ghoster because I'll admit it. Sorry, I'm learning. I'm growing. I didn't know the damage from what I read, the damage that it could do to someone else. So while ghosters just they just have basically poor communication skills,
Mm.
those who've been ghosted don't actually receive the closure, and so it can actually damage a person's like self-esteem, and have them constantly questioning like, what did I do wrong? What was it about me? And so they start to internalize that action when they may or may not have deserved it, or because there was no explanation provided. At the same
Um,
time,
I don't know if I. Okay.
I also
Okay.
feel like because based on what I've read, okay, I have been ghosted, and then I had to reflect, like, how did that feel for me? And I was like, yeah, that kind of sucked. And then in some instances, it was like, oh, thank goodness, like, like you got to do it, great.
And I don't
Um,
recall trying to jump off a cliff like I rolled over and was ready. Like it didn't impact me in the way the article. So I don't know. Everything depends on the person, but I don't quite agree with either side of what the article is stating because I've been ghosted as well, and I have ghosted many of people. Um, I don't see why that would leave you feeling no certain type way. Like,
well, it's a closure. So, like I was telling you, like out here in Denver on a certain radio station, um, there's a it's like a part of their morning show where it will be people who have had a date. One person thinks it's like a really, they had a great time. They got the impression from someone else that they had a great time. And then this person just what we would say would be ghosting. And so they actually call the other person to find out like why the date didn't work out or, get a vibe. They actually have the person who emailed the radio station on, which I think is, I got feelings about that one, but it's entertainment. That's how they're promoting it. Um, But what I get from when I hear some of these people, it's kind of like one date and you're just like, oh, this was
and
magic. Like,
and
I don't
that's what I'm
know.
sitting here thinking. So because we went on a date and you had high hopes, I mean, kind of on you, bro. Like
That's the thing.
it
Like,
might have went well.
are people expecting too much on the
Oh,
other side of that? Like, so it
yeah.
does, like, it sucks to be ghosted. Now that I have learned there's some things that you shouldn't do, like it can be damaging. Because it's also like you're taking the easy route. You're taking the easy way out rather than having an adult conversation with someone and say, like, I just don't see this connection, or I just don't think we can
Okay, but
continue our friendship. It's easier
and
just to ghost.
but every conversation is not a healthy one. Every conversation is not a good one. Every conversation doesn't come to a resolution. So, for instance, the ghost I was telling you about, Mr. I Love You, was I supposed to go tell this nut?
Oh, you got to tell this story because this is hilarious. Only in New Orleans.
Oh, only, right? So, junior prom, to prom, had fun. The next morning, wake up, my older sister takes me. We go to the market. I'm sitting in the car. This guy comes up, approaches. He seems normal. And he
Mm-hmm.
asks for my phone number, makes normal conversation, nothing quite alarming for me to be like, roll up the window and lock the door. So we exchanged numbers. Well, literally by the time I made it home, he had called me 20 times. And then he was like, I love you. Now, not even a full 24 hours. So I ask you all, was I wrong for ghosting this nut, or should I have sat down with this person and said, look, I'm not feeling this. I
Well,
don't think this is going to work. What do you think his reaction would have been if he was disturbed enough to say you love somebody? Not even 12 hours. Like, dude, it wasn't even an hour.
it had like 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes.
Yes. Like, soon as I
Wow.
laid eyes on you, I don't believe in the love her sight, but nonetheless, something that was my first red flag. Oh, something wrong here. I'm not finna tell this nut. Women get killed every day. Like, I'm not finna tell this nut, hey, it's not gonna work. I ghosted dude. I blocked this number. I didn't go back to that store for a while because I knew he stayed in
Oh
the
wow.
area
Like
somewhere.
you ghosted the store.
Huh?
You ghosted the store. Like you didn't even
Ghosted everything in that area because I was like, dude, on one.
Wow.
So, ghosting, just like many things in life, is necessary.
Wow.
Ghosted him.
The article, so one of the reasons that they give why people ghost, like I said, it's the easy route, the path of least resistance, or people are overloaded and fatigued. And on that, as I reflected, I'm like, I could see the latter for me. Like I've given you chance upon chance, or you have done the most to the point where it's like, I just cannot, if I tell you something, I don't think it's going to land with the tact and sensitivity that it would need.
But
Because
you
at
know
that
me.
point, I'm going to, in my mind, I was like, I'm severing all ties anyway. So let it fall where it falls, which is not right to the person.
But see, like with me, I don't have no problems with it. Like,
When
it's not
pushed, I
that.
don't
It's
have a
just,
problem with it either, but
I
that's
don't have
not my
time.
intent. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, I mean, am I a real ghost? I mean,
I'm about that.
and
Like,
as
I
I
don't
think
even
about that, I probably am about that life too. There's no lie. As I think back, I'm like, okay, um, I because
I go
I
everything.
also do this. I also weigh the pros and cons. Like, what am I getting out of this relationship? What am I giving in this relationship? How do I, what is my intent versus, how I'm feeling about the intent of the other person, which I know is like a huge assumption. Um, but it's and then I make peace with it. Like when the cons outweigh the pros, it's like, oh, it's time to go. I had a lady one
Everybody.
time, um, who they were very supportive and had a lot going on at the time. And mentally, I could not deal with all of my issues plus their issues because they were out the box. So that's all right. You could just say what you have to say. It just has to get.
I don't know. I just, if I'm trying to think, like, has it ever been a situation where I needed to cut something off and I didn't ghost? Um, no, I don't know.
I feel like the signs are there.
Because it's not,
Like
I
the
don't know. Personally, I just don't feel like it's because I can't address the situation. I just,
And that's how I feel. Like I can't. So it's not a fear. Let me say it that way. It's not
right,
based in fear. It's
right.
just the fact that I would probably be. I'm so angry at that moment that I'm more fearful of how I'm going to react
I can see that sometimes.
than actually telling you. Because I have told people in the past, look, I'm not really feeling this. Just doesn't. I'm just not with this. And people have taken it. I have had people being like, okay, you know, and I've had people like get upset. I can't control the way you respond. I would in the back in the old days before I became a mother and like
Oh,
growing.
Lord.
You can roll your eyes if you want to, whatever. So before
Yeah.
all of that,
Mm-hmm.
I really would have been like, whatever. Like I'm doing me. So I could see myself back at that time, like ghosting and not really caring. Or, I mean, I always felt like you need to be told to your face. And I was very intellectual about it. Let me tell
Well,
you what you need to check and get together. And this is why this is not going to work. And I think that pissed people off more uh, by me telling them Or maybe it was the way I told them. I mean, I felt I was very
Probably.
clean with it. I was very precise and surgical. So, as
That
well
was
as
probably hard.
I was stating facts in my mind. They were facts. Like, here's the evidence. Here's what you have provided. ABC, follow that formula, and here is why. And so
I
it
don't
was
know.
what it was.
Just
Now,
don't have space in my life for certain stuff. So I'm just
but is it so? I think most of all, I think for some people it is just easy. I mean, for all of us, I think when you ghost people, it is easy. I think after that, it's really because you are fatigued with the person. You are fatigued with their energy. You are fatigued with their BS. And you just like, I just need the quickest solution to ease this pain.
never
And it's
thought of
not
it that
physical
way.
pain. It's more of like the aggravation pain of you are weighing me down. Like we talked
I don't
about
have time.
energy vampires, right?
Yeah.
So you're draining me in your foolishness
Yeah.
or neediness
Yeah.
or chaos. Because if I
Something
think,
negative that you're bringing to me that I don't need. Because when I think about the people I've ghosted, yeah, it's something that they were bringing that I felt like I needed to cut from my life.
yeah,
Like it wasn't fitting. The puzzle piece wasn't fitting. So it's like, yeah,
part of it, I think also is kind of like a primal thing, right? Because of the need to be safe. I'm not trying to intellectualize it to like the deep degree. I could go down that rabbit hole, but I feel like it's something in us that says to run. It's another signal of like there's some
fight or flight
danger
type.
there.
Yeah.
Something, right. Um,
So
and I've honestly, as I reflect, like I've ghosted people when I've been like, oh, I don't think I could be a good friend to this person. Like they're needing too much. Not that I wasn't like worthy to be their friend, but it was just like at the time
you
they
couldn't
might have
give.
been, I couldn't give them maybe what it was that they were looking for as a friend. And
Hmm.
so if you transfer that to a relationship, or as
Yeah.
some people, such and such is a high maintenance type person, I honestly just I question always giving the explanation. Like, does that, if I, like you said with your person, if I sat you down and I had some people who received it and I had some people that were like pissed about it.
Right.
Did that help? Or did that just, I mean, did they really get closure?
It
Because the way
depends
some of
on the
those folks
person.
blew up, it was kind of like, when I've been ghosted, it's like, huh, okay, I can kind of see why.
And move
Like,
along.
and move along.
Right.
But I
Right.
do know that there are some people who need to hear it. But it's also like, what happens if closure never comes? Right?
And I mean, that's life. There's a lot of things that come up and you never get closure. But I mean, just because, and that's the other thing, just because those people hear it, it's hearing and comprehending and receiving are all different things. And so just because you hear it doesn't mean you're receiving it, you're understanding it, you're processing it. It's just, I heard it. You say
I
it one
just,
way doesn't mean they're going to hear it the same.
and I guess I'm just, I'm resistant to say, I know we say it, we all say, oh, you ghosted, but I'm resistant in a way to embrace what this means because I feel like that's just, and
It
I'm
happens.
a 80 baby, like I'm an 80s baby, so it's kind of like, okay, well, like on the playground, right? Your parents would tell you to make friends, and then when certain people didn't want to be friends with you, when you sitting there crying, your parents were like, suck it up. Everybody's not going to be your friend. And so I kind
Hmm.
of take that approach to it. So it's really hard for me right now to wrap my brain around why ghosting is so like in ways detrimental now. Is it that we are just more sensitive as people? Because I mean,
Definitely.
my mom used to say, suck it.
It is, well, that was our mom, but people are definitely highly more sensitive. It's ridiculous. Yes.
Wow. I mean, it's also listening on the radio station. It was a lot of, I guess I almost felt sorry for some people who like, it was like, would I ever reach out to the radio station to find out about why this person didn't want me. Like they needed a validation
And I don't
that
care
they were
that much.
hoping to get from that person on one
I'm
date.
just
Ghost. I mean,
no, there's no think. Everybody has ghosted somebody, some way, at some time, whether they realize it or not. If everybody sits back and they think about it right now in this moment, you can reflect the time and be like, I did ghost somebody. I did do. Everybody does it.
I think that, and that's just the thing. It's like, even with, why did we have to put a term on it? I guess that's what bothers me. It's like, when you add a
Well,
label to a thing, you make it a thing. And so now we have this term ghosting, and people have to feel some way around the word ghosting when it's just life happens.
yeah.
Maybe I'm not interested in you. Like, maybe I don't want to be your friend because, that's why you hang out with people. Like, to your point, we have forgotten how friendship develops because
Mm-hmm.
everything's so instantaneous in this world.
Mm-hmm.
We really think, oh, we just hung together, that's my friend. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I have a budding friendship with you,
You
which
look
means
for the
over time, I don't call
mm-hmm.
somebody a friend unless we've been through some shit together. Like, if I've been through something and you have been there for me, then I know you are my friend, and vice
Right.
versa.
Not
Anything other than that, we are still testing the waters to see if we can call each other friends. And so we are so quick to name each other as friends when they're just people who will not be there for you in that. And it continually brings this
mm-hmm.
heartache. And then
And
you feel like
disappointment.
you're being in disappointment. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
this expectation that someone can't meet. Like on the first date, I'm sorry, we're just hanging out. That doesn't, I guess, when on a date, I'm not looking for a second one. It's like we just hung out. All right.
Right.
Had a
And
great
that's that.
time.
Mm-mm.
Now we'll see where it goes after that. But I'm not, because people, that's a whole nother conversation around dating. So for people to feel like they've been ghosted and you've only been out with this stranger for one date for a couple of hours, to me it's like, are you expecting too much?
Well, you'll hear people say, well, I thought we had a connection just because I like bubblegum and you like bubblegum.
Doesn't mean it's a connection.
Like,
Right.
boo, what you
It's like you
doing?
like Tonka trucks. I like Tonka trucks. Yeah.
I mean, it's a commonality, but I mean, that don't mean, like, bruh, like, it don't mean like we have this deep bond over bubblegum and we gonna live together forever. I need you to get it together. Yeah.
It is, well, there is some of the articles I read, like you have to go through a grief process when you have been ghosted.
I don't agree with that. Oh,
I don't agree with that
I don't
either.
agree with that at
I'm
all.
sorry.
I
Maybe
know a
we're
little bit
built
about
different.
it, and I don't agree with that.
Well, and to your point, there's a lot of things in life, and I would not want to inflict unnecessary pain or distress on someone else. So let me say that. To go through a grief process, or there've just been a lot of points in my life where there's wanting the closure that never came. At some point I had to say, or just really be aware and assess like where I am, what really happened, and let it go. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times what people do, like, it's never about the person. It's never about the person, I think, who's been ghosted. It's about the other individual. And to your point, like, we ghost in a lot of ways. How many of y'all out there avoid the bill collectors calling y'all? or Navient? How many of y'all dodging them student loans still?
Oh,
Yeah. You go straight up ghosting.
so there's different levels, there's different forms, there's different types. But when you break it all down and you look at it, yeah, it's all ghosting if you're dipping and you're not giving explanation why you have disappeared or taken time for yourself or whatever, then it's considered ghosting based on what you have
Yeah.
researched. So
So I'm
um
I'm also gonna say, like, because the point of the podcast is talk about when is it necessary to ghost, and so I think it is important to point out times where you just need to drop off the radar. Like,
I said that earlier to preserve my peace.
yeah,
For me, it's necessary.
well,
So I'm
a lot
standing
of
by
the
that one.
a lot of the categories, which are quite extreme, you know, compared to like everyday, right? Well, no, not necessarily. It depends on your circumstance. Abuse is like number one. Emotional, physical, whatever type of abuse, like, yeah, you need straight up ghost.
So,
If uh-huh.
well, go ahead. Because I mean, not to make light of it, but would you sit down and tell your abuser, it's not working?
No, that's why you need to ghost. Like, you need to get gone. Like, yeah, ghost. That's okay. That is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was like, if people don't respect your boundaries, ghost them.
Oh, I got a couple
Uh,
on fitting too for the end of the year out.
told you gotta put people on notice. You know what I should do? I should make cute little cards and send them to all of my contacts and say, hello, Christina's reevaluating all of her relationships. You might be ghosted. And then
And that's upfront conversation.
that's upfront conversation. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
well, it didn't say conversation, it said communication. So that is written communication. I might do that for the holidays. Oh, wouldn't that be funny? Anyways,
And get
okay.
out little
The other
ghost
one
cut
was,
cards.
so like, abuse, not respecting your boundaries, manipulation, and just straight
Mm,
up lying. Like, those four is like,
I
once,
agree with that.
like, to your
Yeah.
comfort level, if you feel like a person is, lying to you, ghost them. And overall, like, those were the most common. But there's still a mix in a lot of the articles, and a lot of I'm not going to say, like I said, peer reviewed. It was not peer reviewed research, but the articles were written by people in the medical profession, and they still had mixed views on when you should ghost. Well, let me say this: they all agreed on those four, but then it was like
I
the
agree.
circumstances of which you ghost. It was kind of a mixed bag. It was really interesting. Um,
Hmm.
I think at the end of the day, you have to do a couple of things. You have to do what's best for you as far as your safety, your mental safety, physical safety, all financial safety sometimes, because there's some people can take advantage of that. I think you
Mhm.
then need to assess the relationship to see how you need to honor it. Because what I have learned from reading these articles is like, my motto is always leave a person with dignity. And so my question back to myself was, so when you ghost people, are you leaving them with their dignity intact? Or are you being dismissive? And that's not cool. Like, I don't want to do that to people, because to be dismissive means to be not seen and not valued. So uh, I think moving
I think it
forward for
depends.
me is going to be like, how can I communicate this effectively based on the time we've had together? Like, I don't think everybody gets or nor wants a conversation. And again, like,
I
I'm gonna
agree.
need help with this one. Like, so if there are medical professionals out there who can chime in, and just people who've been ghosted and shared their experience. Like, I know I've been ghosted, but I've kind of been like, I'm a loner anyway. So it's kind of like,
It doesn't bother me. Right.
I mean, I've had a couple that have been like, dang, like, was I going crazy? And it was like, maybe I
Mm,
was. Like, I have these internal talks with myself. So it was like,
I just don't be giving no F's. I don't. I
spoken like a true Sagittarius.
yeah. Oh dang. Yeah. I'm trying to put myself in somebody else's. I mean, and just but
I
I
would
don't
really
know.
like to hear from people to share. Like, if you want to come on and share on the Unlearning podcast and share a story of like you ghosted. Like, I was ghosted by my ex-husband.
And they might give me a different
But I was like,
insight.
oh, thank the Lord for that one.
Yeah, you dodged a whole
It's
bomb.
like, I have been liberated. Thank
Yeah.
you. And the prize was Aiden. Thank you. Like,
dodged that whole missile. Just in case you listening, fellas. But yes. Wink, wink. But I mean, if somebody has like you said, a story to share, or even of somebody that went through it and had a hard time after, it'll help me to see it from a different perspective and maybe have a different outlook on it. But I know personally, I just,
to be honest, like right now, I feel like we're being a little.
Deuces.
Just no, I feel like I'm being. I don't know. I don't want to say judgmental, but I just don't get it. I honestly don't.
No, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just telling you for myself. I don't care. That's my truth. That's me. That's how I feel. That's where I stand. It's not to say that I can't have compassion for somebody else, but I don't give no F's.
Oh wow! Okay, you know what?
Please
she's very clear. She's very clear on how many straws she got in her cup. I'm confused, and I think it's this term, and that's hopefully at some point we can have more people come to the table that can engage in this dialogue and help educate. Because I'm just thinking if I had a friend that came to me, I'd be like, suck it up. So he ghosted you. So they ghosted you, and you are fabulous. Like, here's all the ways that you rock. Like, it's that person's loss. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, it's that person's loss. And I know that's kind of cliche to say, but I mean, if somebody ghosts you, it's because they can't deal with your dopeness. Present company, I mean, myself in that too. Like, the people I've ghosted, it's like, there's something about them. I just, it's not always negative is what I'm trying to say. It's not always you annoying the hell out of me. It's also,
there's something at the moment
and negative.
Well, and like you said, at that present time, for whatever reason, it just doesn't fit. Everybody's not meant to be in everybody's life. It's just
we just don't mesh.
We not peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, what kind? I hate grape jelly with a passion. My mama used to. That's all she would buy. Like, she trusted everything purple.
You ain't got to put my mom on blast like that. And no, she was
growing up in the house. I remember one time we went to Schwegmans. Remember Schwegmans, y'all? Yeah. Those Nanola fam. You remember Schwegmans? And I was like, purple. It was a purple jelly, and they had the pretty red jelly. I was like, can we get some of this? And she was like, girl, that's too hot. I was like, dang. So I do not buy to this day. Aiden, we buy apricot. We buy blueberry, blackberry preserves. I buy strawberry.
I do
not buy grape. And Aiden has begged me, can we have grape jelly? I was like, no, I grew up on that.
This family has so much trauma behind them. Just minimal of damn things. It's like freaking canned goods, grape jelly. Slotted cooking spoons. Like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's a history.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so hopefully you got something from this. I mean, it's a ramble, as always. Just get used to it. So,
just to reflect, if they got nothing else, just to reflect a moment when you have ghosted somebody or been ghosted, and how it made you feel, or how do you think it made the other person feel, and then just seeing if you might do it differently next time.
Do some research to see if you agree. I want to know how many people actually agree with the ghosting term, because I'm on the fence about it, I got to say. But I mean, we can always come back to this conversation.
Fuck that. I'm finna stay the boogeyman, but the rest of y'all, if it gives you a different do you? Don't let me steal your joke. Do what you gotta do.
So just thank you all for listening. Again, hope you got something from it. If not, you got a good laugh and a little piece of something to think about. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.